It's 11:30 p.m. You're hungry, and you're standing in front of the refrigerator, peering into its glowing depths. You pull out a plastic container of last night's pasta, or maybe a bowl of rice from 2 days ago. We've all been there, and we've all heard the warnings. People tell you that reheating food kills the vitamins, or that microwaves cause cancer, or that leftover rice is a one-way ticket to food poisoning. But then, you see the meal preppers who swear that cooking once and eating all week is the secret to a healthy lifestyle. So, what is the actual truth? Is that second-day slice of pizza a toxic time bomb, or is it a nutritional gold mine? Today, we are peeling back the molecular layers of your lunch. We're going to look at the danger zone, the secret metabolic superpower of cold potatoes, and the actual physics of why your microwave turns bread into rubber. I am going to explain the science of reheating, and by the end of this, you'll know exactly how to handle your leftovers like a pro. Let's start with the big question that everyone asks. Are you actually losing all the nutrients when you reheat food? Most people assume that heat is the enemy of health, but the reality is much more nuanced. Science categorizes vitamins into two groups, fat-soluble and water-soluble. The water-soluble ones, specifically vitamin C and the B-complex vitamins, are the divas of the nutrition world. They are thermally unstable. When you hit them with high heat for a long time, they break down. However, there is a paradox here. Most people think the microwave is the worst way to reheat food because it feels artificial. But in the world of nutrition science, the microwave is often the hero. To preserve vitamins, you want the shortest cooking time possible and the least amount of liquid. When you boil vegetables on a stove to reheat them, the vitamins literally leak out into the water, which you then pour down the drain. This is called leaching. But a microwave? It uses the water already inside the food. It heats fast and it finishes fast. Because the food is exposed to heat for a shorter duration, you often keep more nutrients than you would with any other method. And surprisingly, some foods actually get healthier after they've been heated. Take tomatoes, for example. They contain lycopene, a powerful antioxidant linked to heart health. Raw tomatoes are great, but the heat from reheating breaks down the thick plant cell walls, making that lycopene much easier for your body to absorb. So, the verdict on nutrients is simple. If you reheat quickly and avoid drowning your food in water, you are keeping about 90% of the good stuff. Now, let's talk about the part that actually can hurt you. It isn't the microwave, it's the clock. Bacteria love a very specific temperature range, 5 degrees to 60 degrees Celsius, which is 40 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Scientists call this the danger zone. In this window, a single bacterium can double every 20 minutes. If you leave your dinner sitting on the counter for 2 hours while you watch a movie, you have just hosted a microbial festival. The most famous culprit here is rice. Rice often carries spores of a bacterium called Bacillus Cereus. These spores are incredibly tough. They can actually survive the initial boiling process when the rice is first cooked. If that rice sits at room temperature after cooking, those spores wake up, germinate, and start pumping out toxins. Here's the scary part. Those toxins are heat stable. That means even if you reheat that rice until it's steaming hot the next day, you might kill the bacteria, but the poison they left behind is still there. The rule of thumb for your health? Get your food into the fridge within an hour of cooking, and when you reheat it, make sure the internal temperature hits 75 degrees Celsius or 165 degrees Fahrenheit. But it isn't all bad news. In fact, reheating can actually be a weight loss hack. When you cook starchy foods like pasta, rice, or potatoes, the starch molecules soak up water and become easy for your body to turn into sugar. However, when you cool those carbs down in the fridge for 12 to 24 hours, a magical chemical process called retrogradation happens. The starch molecules lock together into a structure called resistant starch. As the name suggests, this starch resists digestion in your small intestine. Instead of turning into sugar and hitting your bloodstream, it travels all the way to your large intestine, where it acts as a prebiotic, feeding your good gut bacteria. Science has shown that when you reheat that cold pasta, the resistant starch stays intact. You are essentially eating a version of the food that has fewer calories and a much lower impact on your blood sugar than when it was freshly cooked. Next, we have to look at what you are reheating your food in. This is where the reheating is bad for you. Argument actually has some scientific weight. When you heat food in plastic containers, even the ones that say microwave safe, you run the risk of chemical migration. Chemicals like bisphenol A or BPA and phthalates are used to make plastics flexible or clear. These are endocrine disruptors, which means they can mimic hormones in your body and mess with your system. They are especially attracted to fats. Always transfer your food to glass or ceramic before reheating. Now, let's address something very common: reheating tea and coffee. In many households, we make a big pot and keep reheating it. But when your drink contains milk, the chemistry changes. You've seen that thin skin that forms on top. That's a complex of proteins and fats. Reheating milk multiple times makes these proteins harder to digest. Even worse, keep boiling tea leaves or coffee grounds extracts extra tannins. This makes the drink bitter and can interfere with your body's ability to absorb iron, often leading to acidity or heartburn. Also, milk is a perfect culture medium for bacteria. If your milk tea has been sitting for over 2 hours, reheating it won't fix the bacterial waste products already inside. If it's gone cold for too long, don't reheat it. Fresh is always better. Now, let's look at a very common sight in India: the street shop reheating old samosas, badas, or even double-frying French fries. From a health perspective, this is where things get complicated. When fried foods are reheated, especially in hot oil, the fats undergo lipid oxidation. Every time oil is reheated to high temperatures, it breaks down and creates polar compounds and free radicals. These are linked to inflammation and heart issues. You might think using an air fryer at home to reheat fries is a healthier hack. And while it's better than deep frying them a second time because you aren't adding more oil, the oil already inside the food is still being stressed. When you reheat fried food until it's crispy again, you are often creating acrylamide, a chemical that forms in starchy foods during high-heat cooking. While one samosa won't hurt you, making double-heated fried snacks a daily habit is definitely bad for your long-term health. If you must reheat them, the air fryer is the least bad option. But try to keep the temperature below 180 degrees Celsius to minimize chemical damage. Let's get into the practical physics. Microwaves work through dielectric heating. They target polar molecules, mostly water, making them flip billions of times per second. This friction creates heat. But microwaves create standing waves, leading to hot and cold spots. This is why your microwave has a rotating plate. But even then, the waves can be uneven. Sal's pro tip: stop the timer halfway and stir the food yourself to manually move those cold molecules into the high-energy zones. If you want to reheat pizza, forget the microwave. Use a cold skillet. Put the pizza in, put a lid on it, and add just 1 drop of water away from the pizza itself. The pan crisps the bottom through conduction, while the tiny bit of steam melts the cheese perfectly. For rice, use the ice cube trick. Place a single ice cube on top of your rice bowl before you put it in the microwave. Ice doesn't actually melt quickly in a microwave because its molecules are locked. Instead, it slowly releases a steady stream of steam that hydrates every grain of rice without making the bottom of the bowl soggy. For meats like steak or chicken, avoid the microwave if you can. High heat causes protein denaturation, where the fibers squeeze out moisture. Instead, use a low-temperature oven at about 120 degrees Celsius. So, let's bring it all together. Is reheating food good for your health? The science says yes, if you follow the rules. Cool your food fast to stay out of the danger zone. Use glass instead of plastic to keep the chemicals out. Avoid reboiling milk-based drinks. And be very careful with double-fried street foods that have been sitting out. Reheating isn't just about saving money. It is about utilizing the science of resistant starch and modern technology to eat smarter. Next time you're looking at those leftovers, don't fear them. Just make sure you're doing it the right way.